I'm very, very excited. It's looking a bit cloudy, a bit like we're going to have some changeable weather conditions for this qualifying session, so I'm looking forward to it. And this is a very, very short circuit. We will be expecting times maybe in the 1 minute 4 seconds, very low 1 minute time. So yeah, we'll see who's gonna put it on pole today. Not a brilliant start from him, having lost P2 in the championship last week, so he's going to be wanting to claw something back, and I can see that he has no longer got a front wing, so we'll be seeing him diving into the pits pretty soon. It's very indicative of what's to come in this race. We could definitely see some contact. I would not rule out a safety car or two, so it's going to be a very, very spicy race. Wow, that was a surprise. There was me expecting lap times in the 1 minute 4 second region, and we're already down to the 1 minute 2 seconds, so we could definitely go to the low 1 minute 2s as well, as the pole is currently a 102.8. So yeah, that was very unexpected, and we had some very, very quick times through there, and very unexpected indeed. Yeah, definitely, and we haven't seen half of the grid come out to set times yet, but Vexit last week, we know that Vexit is a very, very strong qualifier, and last week we saw Vexit not setting a time, so he's currently in the pits, I believe, maybe getting ready to come out on that outlap. Yeah, he's on his outlap, so it'll be interesting to see if he'll be able to set a time today, as we had a few incidents with him in qualifying last week, so he's definitely one to keep an eye on, because his pace is not to be debated. well, just riding on board with Vexit, he was absolutely riding all of the corners and pushing the car to the absolute limit. So I can only imagine what Milan would have been able to do with that lap to have actually kept it in P1. So must have been a brilliant lap from them, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else they can do. Looking like they're in the pit lane right now, and I wonder if they're going to go out anytime soon. No, just dipping into the pit lane. We will probably see them out on another flyer in a couple of minutes. Yes, and someone to watch out for is Get Owned, who is still in the pits, hasn't set a lap yet. It's interesting to see. Oh, and I think Get Owned is about to come out of the pits. We shall see. But yeah, interesting, because that weather is looking very, very unpredictable out there. So the drivers are going to want to get time set on the board in case we start to see a little bit of rain on the track. So those 6-7 drivers at the bottom right now who do not currently have a time on the board will be itching to get out there, and we are seeing Get Owned coming out of the pits now for his outlap. Brilliant. Let's see who is on outlaps right now. We've got quite a few in the pits. We've got quite a few on outlaps. We have Yonti currently on an outlap, who is quite a good qualifier, I would say. Definitely one to watch, and in the race, his race pace is absolutely not to be ignored. He does a brilliant job in the race. But someone to keep an eye on is Rainbow, who is also now on. Oh, that was a big slide from Rainbow. I think that might have been a flying lap that has gone wrong, and now it has been abandoned. So that's the second one that Rainbow has now had to abandon. He clearly has that new front wing on, but yeah, that lap was not great from him. And we also have Richie, who hasn't set a time yet on the board, who was in the fight for the lead of the race throughout a good portion of the French Grand Prix last week, and definitely one who we kept our eyes on. That pole time of 1 minute 2.8 is still unbeaten by Milan in the Renault. So Milan substituting in for Yari this week. But right on the board there, and we've just seen a new P2 time be set, and it's so close, 1/1000th of a second between P1 and P2, and that P2 time was set by Dennis in the Ferrari. Now that is quick. 1/1000th of a second separates P1 and P2. That is absolutely incredible, and it's just a testament to how great these drivers are and how close the racing is going to be for the rest of the day. Just having a look and seeing what Rainbow is doing. He is back in the pit, so we've still not seen a time be set by Rainbow, who's currently P3 in the championship. We don't have a time set by Richie. We do not have a time set by Luca. Oh. And Get Owned has just done an absolutely flying lap and gone straight up into P1, and so has Sandro, has flown right up into P2. So that was brilliant. Completely missed that. I think my game is also lagging a little bit, but Get Owned with a fabulous 1:02.4. So that is the time to beat right now, and it's a whopping 0.3 quicker than Sandro in the Williams in P2. So absolutely fantastic job by Get Owned, and we know that he is exceptional with tyre management. So around this circuit today, where we're likely going to be seeing a one-stop race, Get Owned is definitely going to be one to watch, because his tyre management is exceptional, and he will be able to extend that first stint and hopefully keep it in the lead. Well, that's what he will be hoping to do today. As we are... Oh, go on. Good to have you back. not sure Vexit will be sweating it too much. I mean, last week in France, we saw Vexit starting in P20 all the way at the back of the grid, and he managed to claw it back for a podium, which was an absolutely fantastic drive from him. So I don't think he'll be worried about being in P5 right now. I don't think he'll want to go any further down, but he'll definitely be out for another flying lap to see if he can put it on pole and make his race a little bit easier. Yes, potentially, and there was a Red Bull flying right behind him, but I'm not sure. I think it might have been... Ooh, who was that Red Bull that was flying? And there was also a McLaren that was right behind Vexit, so yeah, we've got quite a few guys on flying laps right now. We've got just over 6 minutes left of this qualifying session, so probably enough time for maybe another lap after this one. It is a very, very short circuit. Austria, just 4.3 kilometers long, so one of the shortest ones on the grid with only 10 corners. So yeah, not too difficult to go out and set another time, maybe even another couple of times depending on how those tires are looking. No, Vexit is normally extremely dominant in qualifying, so we are not seeing him on top form, as you said today. So I wonder if he'll be a little bit rattled going into the race, but we do know that he does have excellent pace. He's brilliant with the overtakes, biding his time, not too aggressive with his moves, so he will take his time and ensure that that the move gets done in the race. So I'd say that both of the Renaults in P1 and P2, if that is how it stays for the race start, the Renaults should watch their back, because Vexit in P3 is not one to be messed around with. Yeah, very, very interesting question. I mean, he's running away with the championship right now. His closest rival, Get Owned, is on pole. And we have the Red Bull of Rainbow, who still is yet to put a time on the board. And I think Rainbow is currently on a flying lap, which is a bit soon enough, because we've seen him try to attempt several flying laps throughout this session, and it has not worked out too well for him. But this one seems to be going fairly well. He's not invalidated it yet, and he still has a front wing, so it's definitely more positive than the other sessions that we've had. Not looking like the quickest sector that we've had, the quickest time that we've had, so I'm not sure that Get Owned, Milan or Vexit have anything to worry about right now, but Rainbow will be looking to set a time on the board and hopefully start within the top 10. He's riding all of the curbs and all of the apexes, so doing an absolutely great job as he comes around for that final corner as he makes his way down the pits, and it's a fourth. So yeah, I was absolutely right. And Luca, the other Red Bull has just gone into P2, separating the Renaults. So brilliant job from Luca, and admirable job from Rainbow as well. That's a great place to start, I'd say. Yeah, well, no one's got close to get owned at the minute, so I wonder if he'll be able to hold on to that P1. Vexit, as we can see, he's making his way around the circuit right now on an outlap? Yes, on an outlap. So yeah, we'll see what Vexit is going to be able to do. We know that he will be able to pull it out of the... He's very good at pulling it out of the bag at the end of qualifying session, so we'll see if that's something he's able to do this weekend. Yes, very close indeed. And as you were commentating on board with Get Owned, Richie actually jumped up into P2 for a brief moment, and unfortunately Get Owned did make a quicker time, so he is back up into P2, but Richie in P3 kind of out of nowhere really with a brilliant lap. So, oh, and we've just had Milan go even faster than Get Owned into P2, so no one was able to beat Vexit, but still 7/1000ths of a second between P1 and P2. That is extremely close. Oh, 100%. Both of those Renaults could definitely work together as well to, you know, play up to the advantages of team orders, team strategy, and try and unseat Vexit from that P1 position. I don't know if they will try to divide strategy. I mean, they're both on the softs. Will Get Owned be able to extend his first stint? We know he's brilliant with tyre management. So yeah, it will be very, very interesting to see how that plays out for the actual race. I'm very excited. Oh, for the podium, oh well, it's going to be hard to argue with the top three that we already have right now. I definitely would not discount Get Owned to take the win. It was an absolutely fabulous win that he took last week. So it's going to be a very, very interesting fight between Get Owned and Vexit. Richie has been performing extremely well. I think that Richie could definitely be in for a podium today. So yeah, he's definitely one to keep an eye on, I'd say. Definitely a very interesting question. I mean, it's a very, very short circuit, so we could definitely see some incidents. We're probably going to see a couple of blue flags coming out for the back markers. And we've already seen a spin on the formation lap, and that is Richie, I think, who has just spun from out from 4th place. So yeah, that was not the way you want to start the session, actually. Yeah, let's see how he see how he makes his way back through the pack. Yeah, well, those tyres are not going to thank him for that. I mean, he's already done a qualifying round on that set of tyres, so spinning out before we've even started the race is not ideal for him. So fingers crossed he'll be able to keep his cool off the start, and this won't have affected his race too much. Yes, very much looking forward to this, and he is the last guy, and everyone is starting to line up on the grid, so we are preparing for lights out. And something to note is that we do have clear skies now, so nothing like the qualifying session we just saw, and it's looking like it's going to be a dry and very, very beautiful, scorching race. Yeah, and Richie, we were talking about those pre-race nerves. He seemed to have got them under control to jump Get Owned on the starting line. And I think there was actually contact between the two Renaults into turn 1. So I think that's how Get Owned managed to lose that place to Richie, because he ended up going a little bit wide. So yeah, contact between teammates, not exactly how you want to start off the race. My timing screens are playing up. It just says Lando's Milkman is currently in first position, which we know is not the case. Vexit is taking a very, very dominating lead, but Milan is not slipping away just yet. We want to stay in DRS zone so that next lap, once DRS is activated, he will be able to properly attack. We have 3 DRS zones around this circuit, so definitely a great opportunity to pull off some overtakes. Yeah, and I just want to point out that Richie has just set the fastest lap, so he is right on the back of Milan at the minute, and could definitely be challenging Milan very, very soon. Get owned is going to be a bit disappointed because he is in the back end of the DRS zone. He is drifting in and out, 9/10. Oh, and now it's over a second behind Richie that he is. So he's not within, oh, and he's back within DRS range. So it's dipping in and out, but you can clearly see that the gap is opening up between P3 and P4 right now. And for Jeffrey, it will be a very, very welcome sight to see that Renault spacing out from behind him. And oh, as we can see, Get Owned is not looking particularly planted in that car. We just saw a bit of a wobble as he went through that corner, so he's not looking as strong as he has, but will he be able to claw it back? Well, yeah, that's definitely how you're gonna get ahead, because there is a bit of a DRS train going on, shall we say? So everyone is picking up the benefit of DRS in the top 10 at the minute. So the way you're gonna overtake is by putting pressure, forcing someone into an error, and I think Richie is doing just that at the minute, while Milan is kind of pulling away from Vexit in P1. Oh, and there was just contact behind with the Red Bull of Luca and Hood, I think. I think we just saw a bit of contact, and the Red Bull managed to squeeze past, so I'm not sure if the stewards will be having a look at that, because there was definitely contact as Luca managed to make his way past. So very, very interesting. We are seeing these penalties coming in for track limits, and I don't believe that these will be the last penalties we see over the course of this race, because track limits is very, very prominent at Austria, and it's very, very easy to accidentally go wide a couple of times while you're riding all of the curves. So yeah, we could definitely see a few more drivers picking up some penalties, and the order that they cross the line in at the end of the race might not be the actual finishing order. Yeah, that top four, it could honestly go to any of them. And ooh, we're seeing Milan get a little bit racy and have a little look at whether he can dive down the inside of Vexit. Doesn't do it just yet, but he is definitely looking like he's all over the back of that Alpha Tauri, and he's going to be going for. And ooh, he takes another look as well as they go into that corner. So it's very interesting to see how long Milan will wait to make that overtake stick, because we don't know how long these softs are going to last before before they really begin to drop off. Yeah, 100%. And we are seeing a yellow flag in Sector 1, and I wonder who that is. I think that might be Rainbow, who seems to be dropping down the order right now. And yeah, he's spun out and is... Oh, he's making his way back onto the circuit. So it doesn't look like he's got too much damage. That front wing is intact, so that's positive. I think it must just have been a bit of a spin out. So not the best race for Rainbow right now, and he will be wishing he was still up in that top 10 in that fight. Yeah, so he'll be hopping back in the pits as soon as he's there. Not the best race for him. I wonder if something happened with his steering, as he just went straight off. So it was a very strange one. And I wonder if he is going to retire the car, and if there's damage that we can't see. So we'll. Yeah, so while we were all caught up in what was going on with Rainbow, we have completely missed the battle for the lead as it switched places. So Jeffrey was able to get that move done on. Oh, and there's another yellow flag. But Jeffrey was able to get that move done on Vexit, even though Vexit is all over the back of Jeffrey, not wanting to give up that position. I wonder what's going on in Sector 3. Yeah, and it is very close now between those top three. Get Owned is not giving up either. He was all over the back of Vexit during those last couple of corners. So Vexit now has a Renault in his mirrors and has to defend as well as attacking Richie ahead of him. So Vexit has a job on his hands, and Get Owned is not a pretty sight in your wing mirrors. He's not someone you want to see behind you. Yeah, and I just want to point out that during these last couple of laps, we've seen the sky get incredibly dark again. So very, very similar conditions to what we were seeing in qualifying. So could we end up with a bit of rain in this race? It is looking... Oh, and Vexit goes wide! Yeah, and we've just seen Sandro in the Williams spinning out. Oh, and spinning out again, and that has what has caused our yellow flag in Sector 1. So I'm assuming that Sandro will likely be heading to the pits to retire the car, because that was a hefty amount of damage that he just picked up. But he's looking like he's going to make it back. I don't know how. I don't know whether he'll make it back to the pits. We shall see then. But we have another yellow flag in Sector 3. There's a bit of chaos going on left, right, and centre in this race. Well, Sandro has a lot of damage as I am riding on with him at the minute. He has just spun out again, causing another yellow flag, so I will not be surprised for him to retire the car. And I'm surprised that that car is still intact with the amount of hits it's just taken over this lap. So I'm expecting him to be diving into the pits pretty soon. Well, I wonder if this is indicative of the fact that Get Owned does not think we can make it to the end of the race on the medium tyres, and if he wants that extra bit of something in his tyres at the end of the race to attack those who may be on mediums, who knows? We shall see what his rivals do, because, you know, when in doubt, do the opposite. So it would probably be expected that we'll see Milan jump onto the medium strategy. So, yeah, very, very interesting, and I wonder if that's going to pay off towards the end of the race. Well, yeah, so that's what I was going to point out. Yeah, we've now got a split strategy with the Renault drivers, so I wonder if we'll see one of them begin to perform a little better, and I wonder where Milan's going to come out, and he comes out, yeah, quite a way down. There's a little bit of traffic that he's going to want to get through, but yeah, I mean, Get Owned is currently net P1 with Vexit in P11 on mediums as well, so Vexit will have that softer compound, those fresher tyres to be able to attack Get Owned with, but he is currently net P1 because we see our leader Jeffrey has not yet pitted and is on 13 lap old soft, so it must be pretty soon that he's going to be thinking about diving into the pits, but for now he's looking pretty strong out in the lead of the race. Oh, and he's going to be so he manages to get out just in front of Milan, but now he's behind Vexit and Get Owned. So he's currently net P3 in this race now, which is not where you would ideally want to be, but he's all over the back of Vexit, so Vexit needs to watch out. Yeah, and someone that I didn't even notice was Luca, who is actually net P2 when you look at him, because he is on the same strategy. He's on those new medium tyres behind Get Owned. So how he's managed to come out so far ahead is absolutely beyond me, but congratulations to him. Now he's in the fight for the lead of the race, so brilliant job by Luca. it's a good job that Luca doesn't have any damage, because that front wing of Vexit was right under the back of Luca's car, so it's a good job he didn't pick up a penalty, a puncture, sorry. So, yeah, good job for him to have avoided any issues there, but this is not what you would want from your race if you're Vexit. You've just gone into the pits for a pit stop, and, you know, this because it's such a short circuit. Oh, and we've seen some more contact flying up just on that main straight. I wonder who that was, and it looks like an Alfa Romeo is having an issue with their wing. There was some debris, some carbon fiber on that pitch straight. Very interesting. But yeah, if you are Vexit, that is not what you want, and I wonder if he's gonna pit as well for hard tires. So yeah, he's gonna be on the similar strategy to get owned on the hards, which is not the optimum one as we have discussed. That is Ben. That's Ben in the Mercedes. Oh, and Ben's race is not going well. We've seen often some scrappy racecraft from him, but yeah, not what you want. He's spinning out, and it looks like we do have a damaged front wing, so he's gonna have to dive into the pit lane, and we have another. Oh no, yellow flag has disappeared now. So Ben looks to be all good, but we'll be diving into the pits at the end of this lap. Yeah, we've seen a hefty few retirements, so that is now the fourth retirement of this session. Very, very unfortunate for Ben, as he did have his strongest race weekend last week out in France. So very, very disappointing. But if we see Vexit is all the way down now in P15 on those hard tires, he is all the way behind everyone. He's gonna have to make his way through the pack to be able to get back up into that fight. So not ideal for the championship leader, but we could definitely see the championship gaps closing up this race if Vexit fails to score. Yeah, and who just goes right past him? Oh, but does a big lock-up as well. So yeah, we are seeing Hazard ghosting, but oh, and we have a 5-second penalty from Vexit, and he retires from the session. So the championship leader DNFs from round A in Austria. That is going to be music to the ears of Get Owned, of Rainbow, who also retired, and Vexit. Oh, it's going to close up that championship gap. Well, I think he'll still be leading it. I mean, he's over 60 points ahead of P2, so he's got a very dominant lead right now. But Get Owned currently in P2 will be able to eat into that lead that Vexit has right now, and manage to get it down, because we don't want to see Vexit running off into the sunset with that title. We want a fight, so let's see how far Get Owned can get up the order, see if he can finish P1 again, and, you know, begin to properly close that gap, as we see Peso also retiring from the session. So the drivers are not having an easy run this week. well, it's brilliant. He's one of the only top runners currently that does not have a penalty, because Jeffrey, who is going to inherit the net race lead, he has a penalty. So Get Owned just needs to stay within reach, not be too aggressive on any moves, and not retire from the session as we've seen 6 drivers do. And he will be in for a race victory if he can keep it clean for the rest of the race. Yeah, I mean, Get Owned is incredible with tyres, so he's making that strategy work for him, and yeah, he's doing a great job. I just want to commend both of the Renault drivers, as I think they're both doing brilliantly this session. Neither of them are picking up any penalties, and they're both right in the fight for the net victory of the race. So as we see Robin jumping into the pits, he is one of the started outside of the top 10 and has been running on those long mediums for a while and jumps onto softs now. So we could see Yonti, who is currently in P1, soon pitting for soft tyres, as we have about 14 laps left of this race. So it will be very, very interesting to see those soft tyres at the end of the race, and whether the guys on the softs will be able to take the fight to the front runners. And Richie is within DRS range, so Yonti is going to start having that pressure behind. Oh, and I think he jumps into the pit lane now, yeah. So can I get it stopped in time, because we've had a few speeding in the pit lane penalties, but it seems all good for him. And yeah, jumping into the pit lane, what's he going to go onto? I think it's going to be the softs, yeah. So he's going to be very, very quick towards the end of the race, and it's going to be whether he can claw his way back up into the points, because it is very, very close right now between everyone. And even though we have lost 6 drivers, there are still only 10 points positions that you can pick up. So we'll have to be looking to stay in the top 10 as he comes out in P9. Definitely, so I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes right up the order. I mean, in front of him we have guys who are on much older tyres and mediums, so they're not the softest rubber. So I think Yonti, with his incredible racecraft, will definitely be able to take the fight to those in front. And we have Robin as well, who's in P8. So both of the Hasses running together. Will we see a bit of a team game being played? Definitely. So Richie, who we saw spinning on the formation lap, has really clawed it back, and we just see a little bit of a lock-up from him. But he's done an absolutely brilliant job, and he's taken a commanding victory right now. Get Owned is within DRS range in P2 right now, and will be all over the back of him soon. But all over the back of Get Owned is Luca, who had a brilliant strategy, pitted early, and the undercut was very, very successful for him. So Luca doing a good job to stay right behind Get Owned on those faster medium tyres. So will Luca be able to overtake? I mean, he does have a penalty, so it is going to be a matter of overtaking and trying to edge out a gap so that penalty is null and void. But yeah, I think he's been racing quite well today, Luca. yeah, that was... Oh, and Luca has left the session, so yeah, we are dealing with a little bit of internet instability or something on Luca's part, so maybe that was to explain for the ghosting. But yeah, that was an absolutely brilliant move from Milan. Stunning, really. Just bided his time and was all over the back of that Red Bull. So yeah, congrats to him, back up into P3, and now we've got the Renaults back next to each other again, and see what they can do and whether they'll be able to challenge Richie. I mean, we currently, with the penalties that we've got, Get Owned is in P1. He will finish the race in P1, and Milan will finish the race in P2. So that is not bad if you are the Renault team right now. You're thinking, oh, that is a beautiful podium for me. And I think Kai has just left the session, so I must be all alone right now as I'm riding on board with Milan, who is going to be trying to close the gap now between him and Get Owned, which is around about 2 seconds at the minute. So definitely wants to close that gap down, but he is on the softer rubber of the medium tyres out of the two Renault boys. But Get Owned on those hards is managing to do an absolutely incredible job of staying with Richie, only 5/10 off the pace of the guy in P1. So yeah, very, very strong from Get Owned, and not the strategy that myself or Kai would have deemed to be the best, but it is still working for Get Owned extremely well, as he is still right on the back of that racing point. And looking further down the field, we have Luca, who is coming into the pits after he was ghosting, so I wonder if we're going to see a retirement from him in the Red Bull. Let's just have a look as he goes down. Oh, and we've got Domi retiring from the session for unknown reasons. We've got Luca that was just diving into the pits for softs. So I wonder what's going on there. Yeah, we've got a yellow flag in Sector 3 due to Domi's retirement. I didn't notice anything strange, but I'm sure there must have been some sort of damage going on from contact in the race, as there's been a lot of contact, so I don't have eyes everywhere. But we are seeing a brilliant race from the guys in P1, and how have I missed that? We have seen a beautiful move from Get Owned for the lead of the race, and now Richie is down into second, putting pressure on him because he is going to fall victim with a penalty at the end of the race. So brilliant job from Get Owned. Completely missed that move, but I'm sure it was absolutely stunning, biding his time. But Richie is still all over the back of him, and is he going to try and take back the lead? Oh no, not quite yet, but he is still on the faster rubber. He's on fresher tyres, so he's not going to let Get Owned get away with that, and he is still all over the back as we ride up that hill going into turn 3. And yeah, we've seen several issues, several contacts and incidents at turn 3 over the years. And ooh, Jeffrey is so close to the back of Get Owned, and I'm surprised that we're not going to have any contact between them, because that is they are very, very close together. But let's ride on board with Yonti at the minute, who is up into P7. So he's doing a brilliant job. We have lost 7 drivers from this race. So Yonti on the freshest tyres on the grid, besides Lando's Milkman in P12, and he seems to be making his way up the order pretty quickly. There was about a 2-second gap between the Haas cars in P6 and P7, but Yonti has managed to get that down to within DRS range. So his teammate is going to have to look out for the other Haas car in the rear wing of Beaker. So looking back at that fight for the lead of the race, we can see that Richie is still all over the back of Get Owned. And what can Get Owned actually do? He's defending very, very well, but we are seeing Milan coming up behind Richie, and so it's going to be a bit of a yellow Renault sandwich that Richie's going to find himself in, and it's going to be very, very difficult for him to overtake or stay where he is, because he's the only one out of the current top 3 with a penalty, so that is going to demote him at the end of the race. Currently, it's not going to demote him off the podium. He will just fall down to P3 because Hude in P4 is massively behind. He's kind of running his own race a little bit, so we're riding on board with Hude at the minute. He has no one in front of him, no one behind him. He is 6 seconds behind P4 and just over 4 seconds ahead of P5, so it's a bit of a lonesome race, and I can see that Kai has rejoined the session, so hopefully I'll give him a little update on what's been going on while he's been gone. But yeah, this race for the lead of this battle for the lead of the race is very, very spicy. Oh, and Kai has left again, so you are left with me and me alone. So let's oh, and Jeffrey makes a move for the lead of the race, and it is very clean, and he gets it done. But Get Owned is not having it, and he's coming back. Oh, but he can't make it stick just yet. So yeah, Richie has managed to get back into P1. But Get Owned is all over the back of him, and he did not let that place go up easily. We had a fight for about 3 corners there where they were side to side. So that is the racing that we love to see in Austria. It's a tight and close racing track, and we are seeing an absolutely brilliant fight for the lead of the race. Get Owned now. He's going to want to come back as we go up the hill to turn 1. And he's looking a bit further away, but right behind Get Owned as well is his teammate Milan, who is also going to be wanting to overtake Get Owned and take that fight for the victory of the race. So these 3 guys at the front, oh, they are making it very, very spicy for us, and it's a very, very good race that we're seeing. Let's have a look in the midfield and see what's going on, as we just see Yonti make an overtake on his teammate. So the Haas of Yonti is up now into P5, and honestly, I would not discount Yonti to make it up into P4. He's about 4 seconds behind Hude at the minute, but those soft tyres are extremely quick, and the hards of Hude will be starting to drop off in the not starting to drop off, but will not be the fastest cars, the fastest tyres that you could possibly be on in the in this race today. So yes, we've seen some very changeable weather conditions as well. So it was very, very dark during qualifying, but then we got sun for the beginning of the race. It got dark again, but there seems to be no risk of rain for the rest of this race because we are back to the sunny skies. And as we can see, Get Owned is still all over the back of Richie, even though Get Owned is on those hard tyres, which are older as well, but he is really all over the back of Richie, and Richie's gonna have Get Owned all in his rear mirrors. And we have a yellow flag in sector 3, and it's Fragioko who has spun around on the pit straight. So oh, we're gonna see a safety car. Very interesting. I wonder why a safety car? Because Fragioko seems to have got going again. Do we see any issues? I'm seeing a lot of these cars ghosting, so we must have a very unstable internet connection. And Richie has got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. So as if that first penalty that he had was not enough, now he has another one. So he is going to be demoted far out of that P1 position that he's currently in. So that is going to be hugely exciting for Get Owned, as we see Richie jumping into the pits under the safety car. So this is a brilliant idea for Richie, and we also see Milan jumping into the pit lanes as well. I'm assuming they're both going to jump onto softs for the end of the race. We have 3 laps left, but how long is this safety car going to be out for? I'm assuming we must have a little bit of damage on the pit straight if we are having a safety car, because we have seen several incidents, we've seen several collisions. There must be some carbon fibers that I cannot see, and that must be the reason for this safety car, because interestingly, Fragioko, after spinning, seemed to manage to get going again. But we are riding on board with Fragioko at the minute, who is coming into the pits. Are we going to see a retirement, or are we going to see a pit stop? And I think we're seeing a pit stop. Interesting. We're seeing a front wing change from Fragioko, so there's clearly a little bit of damage there for him, but brilliant job from Yonti, who is still up in P6. I think he must have just pitted for another set of softs. So we only have our P1 and P2 drivers, who is Robin and Get Owned, who have stayed on those tyres. So could this work out in Get Owned's favour? He wasn't on the medium, so he's still on those hards, which are going to have a little bit of life left in them for the end of this race. But we only have 3 laps left, so is that going to be enough for everyone to make it back up? So Jeffrey in P3, Milan in P4. They definitely had a big gap down to Hude, because they've still managed to come out in front of him after they made their pit stop. So we're still following around that safety car as we go up into turn 1. So safety car is going to be out for at least another lap. So, yeah, as we are seeing these, the guys just following around the safety car, it's going to be very, very interesting. And we are going to see a last lap sprint at the end of the race, because could we maybe only see 1 or 2 laps without the safety car? It will be very, very interesting to see who can do what, as the safety car has managed to bunch everyone up together. There is a bit of a gap down to Fragioco, a 19-second gap between him, between Tioman in 9th and Fragioco in 10th. So hopefully that gap will start to close up, so we can see the safety car come in. Copy, we haven't really spoken about Copy throughout this race, and I think it's very much because Copy was involved in a first lap incident and kind of fell off, and we have just got the notification from race control that the safety car will be in this lap. So we are going to have lap 34 and lap 35, should I say, and lap 36 of full green flag racing. So that is just 2 laps for Jeffrey to get up back into P2, maybe even attack get owned for the on-track P1, even though he will be victim with that penalty. And Lando's Milkman has just picked up a 5-second penalty for ignoring those yellow flags, as we're just seeing get owned in P1, and our P2 driver that passed Beaker, we are seeing them just weaving to try and get a bit of heat in those tyres, and we have gone straight away. Get owned was really not waiting for anyone, and he has gone straight up to turn 1, and he has really managed to pull out a gap. That is an 8/10 gap between him in P1 now and Beaker in P2. So brilliant job from Get Owned. He's done exactly what he needed to do on that restart, and we are seeing a massive amount of battles in the midfield. So we're seeing Milan overtake Hude, and then Hude was fighting with Milan. So very, very interesting. Yonti is definitely getting a little bit racy. He's going to get all over the back of Hude in the Alfa Romeo as well. Seeing a couple of lockups going through that sector, going through sector 2. So yeah, as we're seeing, Copy is down by 1 lap, so he is the only back marker that we currently have, and everyone seems to be very, very close and bunched up together. And let's have a look at what's going on up at our Fight for P1, and we have Richie, who is all over the back of Beaker, and is going to be definitely trying to overtake him going into that pit straight, and he's all over the back of him, and yes, he pulls out, and Beaker does try to defend. But Jeffrey's going to have the inside line going into turn 1. And there is contact between them. And so Beaker is off. He is off, and he's going to retire from the session. And he's going to leave. But Richie is now falling victim to Milan, who is going to overtake him after that contact. And oh, wow. Hude and Yonti are both getting in on that fight as well. So that is a very, very interesting fight that we've got going on. We have Dennis as well, who is having a little peekaboo. Copy, and now has retired from the session after running a lap down. Very, very disappointing, but we can see the Alfa Romeo of Hude is now starting to properly fight with Richie, and there is more contact between them. So Hude is all over the back of him. That front wing, he's got to be careful that's not going to ride under the back of that pink Racing Point car. But absolutely fantastic job on the start line by Milan, who managed to get past Hude and Jeffrey. So fantastic job. Now we have the Renaults in P1 and P2, and that is going to be the end of the race. So Get Owned crosses the line in P1, and Milan is going to come home in P2. So an absolutely brilliant result from the Renault guys today. Absolutely fantastic, and they'll be really happy with that race. Hazard has been the team's driver of the day. I'm going to go with, who could I go with? I'm going to go with Yonti, actually. I think Yonti did a brilliant job. And my game has crashed. Wonderful. So, many apologies. We're not going to see that podium, celebration from me. But thank you very much to everyone for tuning in. We've had a fantastic race today. Unfortunately, Kai ended up disappearing due to internet difficulties, and clearly there were some difficulties on my side of the game as well. But thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the race. And we will be back next week for Silverstone, I believe, which will be round 8 of this Season 8 European Racing Series Championship. So thanks for joining, and we will see you next time.